The timing of this film was instigated by the producers, the guys who produced Paranormal Activity. I wasn't thinking of making a film. It was around the end of 2009, and I was actually a couple of weeks away from heading back to Australia for a month or so, for Christmas and New Year's. And so I was looking forward to weeks of, you know, having my parents look after me, cook for me, going to the beach, being in Australia in summertime. You know, our Christmas time is a time to go to the beach in Australia. So I was just looking forward to this trip. And then out of the blue, we had this meeting with the producers of Paranormal Activity. And they said, we should make a movie, you should write it, and let's do it really soon. And all of a sudden, my travel plans changed. I went from thinking about lying on the beach to spending all my time indoors, hunched over a laptop. That's how I spent my trip to Australia. It was really them that started it. And when they said that to us, when they said, listen, we want to make a film with you guys, we want to do it cheaply, quickly, you guys will have full creative control, you can make the film you want, those were the key words that made James and I sit up and pay attention. Creative control, two beautiful words in the English language. And so we decided to pull out this old idea that we had years ago, and I just remember examining that idea in the few days while I was thinking about whether to take this job or not, and thinking, wow, that's a great idea for a film. It's hard to talk about without spoiling the film, but the central idea, the boys' ability, I think I always thought that would make for a great film. And so I guess it was a case of producers prodding us into a place where we felt great about the idea, you know. The only thing the producers of Paranormal said to us was that it had to be horror. That's what they were doing. They were making horror films, and they weren't coming to us to make a musical drama. You know, not many people do, funnily enough. It's weird. So when we thought about what type of horror film we would make if we were given creative control, the answer pretty quickly was a haunted house film. Not because that's what the Paranormal guys did, but because that's what we've been wanting to do for a long time. James and I, for years, have been wanting to make like a really scary haunted house film because we're fans of that subgenre. You know, out of all the little branches on the horror tree that DreadCentral and other amazing websites like that concentrate on, the haunted house branch is our favourite. I mean, we love zombie movies, we love slasher films, you know, we like all these different little niches, but there's something about the haunted house movie. James would probably say just ghost movies in general. It's just that ghost movies tend to be haunted house films, you know, usually. So I guess when I say haunted house, I really mean the ghost subgenre. That's just been something that has always terrified us. So I guess it's just a happy accident that the guys who asked us to make a film with them happened to have just produced a haunted house film. I don't have the glasses. Some person in the props department does. Such a bummer. But I did always intend to play Specs. I knew I wanted to play a role in the film, and I knew that I wanted Angus, my friend from Australia, to play Tucker, the other guy. So it was great, because when I wrote the script, I wrote those two roles in our voices, basically. I basically wrote Angus and Leigh. And that meant that it sort of turned out a bit comedic, because that is our rapport in real life. We're always trying to make each other laugh, and we're always taking the piss out of each other, as we say in Australia. So that's what that role was, and that's how it actually became a bit more comedic. In a way. I don't want to use that. I feel like that's a danger word. I can just hear producers and publicists outside saying, why is he saying comedic? But I just think they do provide a little bit of levity to the film, as you know, and I think that came naturally from just knowing how Angus and I are. I didn't go into the script thinking that those two characters would be quirky or anything. It just sort of organically came out of knowing that Angus was going to be that guy. It is a little different when you show up to set as an actor as opposed to a writer. When I'm wearing my writing hat, it's a lot more just in your face, you know. We're both there pacing around the room, you know, having arguments, but also talking about, you know, getting excited about things. When I'm on the set as an actor, it's kind of strange. It's a lot funnier. It's a little more laid back. Like James was definitely laughing a lot. He thought it was hilarious, the two characters that we played. So a little more easygoing, which is weird when it's on the acting side. The seance scene in the film's a big scene. It's like a big set piece scene. And as you say, there's flash photography going on, there's noise. And whenever there's that much going on, it becomes very mathematical and mechanical in the filmmaking. They had a circular dolly track for the camera to track around the table. They had a guy setting off the flashes. And so it became an exercise in hitting your marks and really being aware of the timing of things, as opposed to a scene where two people are talking and there's more room to just go off track and improvise a little bit. I find that action scenes are so mechanical and in a sense laborious. They're the most fun scenes to watch, but they're the least fun scenes, I think, to make, because it's just this step-by-step process that has to be walked through and calculated. If I'm shooting a scene, I'd much prefer to shoot a dialogue scene where I can just start riffing, start saying things. I don't know why I threw my hand up dramatically like I was just coming out on stage during Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Ah! I usually like to step back and let James direct, you know, I don't want to get in there, but he really is great with me giving advice, and because we've been friends so long, you know, he'll always ask my opinion, and I'm not afraid to give it in any situation, as people who know me know. And so I'll always give my opinion and stuff, but I was really happy with the casting. I thought that Patrick Wilson was exactly the guy that I was picturing when I was writing. You know, he's that guy. And Rose, of course, you know, is a fellow Antipodean actress who I've known for many years and had a vicious crush on when she first came out in Two Hands, the Australian film with Heath Ledger. Oh, I see James and I collaborating for a long time. You know, it's hard to get a relationship in filmmaking to the point where you have a shorthand. It takes time. There's no shortcuts to shorthand. You've got to know the person a long time and really build up the trust and the understanding. And James and I have put those yards in. So I think it'd be foolish of us not to keep working together, you know. I think we make a great team. Plus, his name fits inside my name. It's Juan and Whannell. I mean, that's great marketing zeal, zest. Juan and Whannell. It's just awesome. I mean, I kind of like the trademark we've built up, you know. It seems like a crass word to use, trademark. It's a business word, you know. When you think of the word trademark, you think of in Starbucks or something, not filmmaking, not art, but I like this brand of taking genre stuff and kind of wedging bizarre things into it, you know, that maybe don't quite fit sometimes, you know. It's like, if you think back to Saw, it's like we had a puppet on a tricycle. And now everyone knows that puppet's face and they're kind of used to it. But when it first came out, I think people were like, what? What is this bizarre ventriloquist puppet? We love doing stuff like that. And we did it in Dead Silence and also in Insidious, you know. So I hope we continue to do that in other genres. I'd be interested to see what the Juan Whannell sensibility would bring to a comedy or a sci-fi film.
I know it's funny, we were talking about the faces and stuff, but when you were talking about Dead Silence, like, I remember the first time I said Dead Silence, like, I couldn't get the dolls' faces, like, out of my head. Like,
Oh, right.
and then the woman, I was like, she freaked me out. Like, I can't even, like, watch that movie, like, towards the end, and I'm just like, okay, I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it was really nice to see a lot of the homages to, you know, Saw and Dead Silence.
Yeah. there was definitely nods to those films, you know, in this film. I think this might be sort of our definitive statement on horror. You know, this is whether people love it or hate it. This is our definitive statement on horror. This is our horror bag of tricks. It's all the stuff that we like to see in horror films, you know. Thanks, DreadCentral.